security, architecture, service orientation, whatever that is. Now, as a good leader, you would expect to set a direction, right? But then you'd want to check to make sure what you expected was actually being accomplished. Now we're in monitor. And based on what I discover, based on monitor, I will again evaluate, direct, and make my next set of statements, right? So this evaluate, direct, monitor, this is governance. It's not actually doing, but it is establishing what is expected, because doing is management. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I have to give you more, Chris, than a vague direction and a wave of my hand. So that's where the operating model concept comes in. This is where an organization uses a reference model like COBIT to say, okay, let's do this. That's where COBIT really has done a great job by separating out. There are 37 processes, yes, across the entire framework. 5 of them are governance. And the first one is establish a framework for governance, which is an operating model. And then there are 32, which are management, which are the pieces that you need to do to accomplish what I've set you to do. Now, here's where COBIT starts and stops. It gives you enough information about what's expected, process goals, KPIs, practice areas, activities, but it doesn't give you enough detail to say, okay, how do I get this done? That's where you got to pick up another book, whether it's an architecture book using TOGAF or ITIL book, because it's in that management framework you'll find the actual detail you need to actually execute. So basically, COBIT points to specific areas.
COBIT's almost like a legend on a map.
Yes, I love that. COBIT is the legend, the overall umbrella integrator framework.
Because it makes sense the way you've explained it now. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking in pictures that have nothing to do with what you're saying to get my head around it because it's so big. But yeah, I like the way that it could be like, in the corner of a much larger map with lots of frameworks and processes and ideology and methodology, and it's just kind of sitting there going, and this point to that, and point to that. I like this.
Well, and at a leadership level, personally, here's a statement. It sounds interesting coming from a guy who cut his teeth on ITIL. I believe if you're a manager level person or higher in an organization, and you're expected to provide leadership to that organization, then it would be better for you to take a COBIT Foundations course first before an ITIL Foundations course.
Smart.
Because it would give you the larger picture and then the understanding of what pieces fit where.
Maybe, just like it sounds terrible, I didn't even know they had foundation classes for COBIT. So you literally, how long are those? I mean, do they actually, you're saying there are, of course, you just said that. So how long is a COBIT Foundations class?
It's 3 days in the one that we teach. And it's just like an ITIL Foundations. It's first principles. It's talking about what we're discussing today. It gets into a bit more detail, of course, but the reality is